Welcome to MXF. I am your host, Katie, on the Mrs. X Finance channel, and today we will be discussing 10 daily habits that often drain 90% of your enjoyment and peace week after week. Let's jump in. Number 1, focusing on how life should be every single step of the way. And I do that a lot. This is how I thought things should be. Why didn't it go this way? It should have gone this way, but nonetheless, I think having that, taking a step back and looking at what you actually have instead of constantly going back instead of shoulda, woulda, coulda, is the best way to get through how things should have been. Because the way that we think that they should be, it doesn't always pan out that way. Number 2, wanting to control the uncontrollable. Newsflash, you will never be able to control the uncontrollable. And the best piece of advice I have ever received on that part is the only thing that you can control is you. So stop trying to control the uncontrollables. I understand some of us always feel like we need to be 10 steps ahead, but realistically, you're just draining yourself because there's just some things that are completely out of your control. Number 3, holding tightly to the way things once were. A lot of people, I think, definitely struggle with this. I know I have for sure. Stop looking in the rearview mirror. There's no point. Enjoy the scenery that's currently around you, because what things were, whether that be yesterday, 10 years ago, it's not going to be the same as it was. As we evolve and age, our life will change. That is inevitable and a good thing. So enjoy the present moment. Number 4, refusing to practice self-forgiveness. This is another huge one. In my opinion, forgive yourself for those mistakes that you've made. Learn from them. If you have learned from them, there's a reason that may have happened, for whatever reason that may be, but self-forgiveness is a big one. So stop beating yourself up on whatever the mistake it is that you made, because chances are there's probably 3 million people who have made the same mistake in the entire world, and there's just no sense of dwelling on it. Think about it, forgive yourself, learn the lesson, and move on. Number 5, endlessly settling for the default settings. Now that's an interesting one. And to me, I'm taking this as living within that little box. I don't know if any of you have ever heard the saying as live outside the box, or if you've ever seen that flea method experiment where they put all those fleas in a jar, all the fleas are trying to jump out, they put the jar on for however long. Once they open it, the fleas have since had more offsprings, and they leave the jar open, and the offsprings never jump past the lid because they don't know any different. So don't just tie yourself to essentially one thing, one life. Everything evolves, everything changes. Roll with the punches, see what else is out there. Not one shoe fits all people. It's not, one size fits all type thing. So don't continue to just settle for the default settings. Look to see how you can actually sit down and program it to the way that you would like it. Number 6, resisting new ideas and lessons. So I find sometimes, especially with work, and it's not everybody's good with change. And it doesn't, in my opinion, matter what age you are. Sometimes older generations do find it difficult to change. But nonetheless, it's not just depicted on one generation. I think it just really depends on who you are as a person and what your adaptability is like. So don't resist new ideas or new lessons that come into your life. If you hear something you don't like, let it set in, think about it, ask for further clarification as to the reasonings behind it, and then maybe it'll make a little bit more sense later on. Number 7, consistently seeking fleeting contentment. Now, this one I found very interesting, and I will go back and read what the article states here. So it says here, there are 2 variations of contentment in life, fleeting and enduring. The fleeting type is derived from instant of material comfort. So to me, that would be instant gratification, while enduring type is attained through a gradual growth and progress on matters that are truly important to you. So, contentment. I think a lot of us in the world, enough is just never enough. I think that we are in a very fast-moving society now. Things are constantly changing. When I was growing up, I mean, we didn't have all this social media and everything like that, and thank God. Don't get me wrong, I think social media can be great for certain things, but I think if you are sitting there doom scrolling and looking at all these other people's lives, who has what, wondering like, you know, why can't that be you? Or every single aspect of life, we all go through those life changes. And I think when you hit 25, especially as a female, it's like something clicks in you, and then you look around, and marriage for most is super important. I'm not saying everybody, so please don't start attacking me. But for majority of women who have always been interested in having a family, settling down, that becomes top priority. And it can be difficult for some women that are, at that age group, nowhere close to that prospect, and seeing everybody else around them getting married, having children, and you're just not content with what it is that you have in life. So the seasons change, life changes. Take a look at what you have. And this doesn't have to be material options either. This can be what you have personally. Maybe you have really high self-esteem. Maybe there's certain things out there that you're good at that other people aren't. So this doesn't have to be, honed in on just one thing or, status of any sort. Whether it's buying a house, if you're renting, if you're living with your parents, whatever it may be, just take a look around and be content with what you have. Because seriously, if you have your health, you have a lot more than some people do. Moving on. Number 8, always worrying about everyone else's story. And this one I thought was funny, so I'll read this one out. Don't be so satisfied with the success stories of others and how things have gone for them that you forgot to write your own. Unfold your own tale and bring it to life on a daily basis. You have everything you need to become what you are capable of becoming. Incredible change happens when you decide to make yourself a priority. So remember, you won't always be a priority to others, and that's why you have to be a priority to yourself. So always remember that. And this is going to sound bad, and I think that's a better way of wording it. Always be a priority to yourself, because I always used to say it's all about number 1, and that might sound really conceited, but at the end of the day, we only all have ourselves. When you really sit down there and think about it, yes, you might have a spouse or family or friends and blah, blah, blah. But realistically, at the end of the day, you only have you. So when shit really hits the fan, and maybe you don't have anybody to fully turn to, or maybe you do, but it's not something that you want to be sharing with them, whatever the case may be, you are the one who has to dig yourself out fully in order to also to learn that lesson. So prioritize yourself first. And that is not being greedy. I don't care what anybody says, because you taking care of yourself allows you to be able to do other things and good things for others. Number 9, fearing little necessary failures. So stop fearing those little failures, because as you go through those failures, you're learning how to critically think and solve problems. It's all about problem solving, and you'll be able to pull from those life lessons. Number 10, waiting for the perfect time to make the next step. Don't wait for the perfect time. Whether, I'll do it once I graduate. I need to save up X amount of money before, we can get married, or I want, a $60,000 engagement ring. I have so much debt, but I can't have children because I have so much debt. I want to buy a house. I want to be sure that everything's perfect before I can go through and do the next steps in life as to whatever your situation may be. I can 100% tell you right now, there is no perfect moment to take the next step in any parts of your life. It'll never happen, because things are going to fly at you. Things are going to change. And there's just, realistically, there's no perfect moment to take the next step. So if you're sitting there thinking, being like, I really wanted to take this job promotion, but I didn't think it was a good time, take it. Because the worst case scenario that can come back to you is it didn't work out for whatever reason, but you will never struggle on the regret of not knowing. Or if you're waiting to have children, and again, it's case by case situation. Make sure that you have a really good partner before going through and doing that. It's a lifelong commitment, having a baby for most. But sitting there thinking that, you want to be, having XYZ completed and everything like that, there's just never the perfect time to do anything or to make whatever decision comes at you. So if something comes at you and you think, this isn't really good timing, take a moment, really think about it, and think about if you'll regret not doing it within the next 5 to 10 years. And that right there will be your answer. Well, thank you so much. I'm Katie again on MXF, the Mrs. X Finance channel. Cheers to the next one.